On being woke. The term woke originated in African American vernacular English and has a history rooted in awareness of social justice and inequality. The term woke initially meant being alert to social injustices and discrimination, particularly racial inequality. It was a call to awareness, encouraging people to stay woke to the realities of systemic racism and oppression. It was possible to appeal to biblical verses such as Ephesians 5:14 in support of the idea. Wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you, which Ephesians seems to be quoting from some unspecified source. Isaiah 52:1 and other prophetic texts could be invoked as a call to awaken, reflecting themes of empowerment and readiness for liberation. Awake, awake, put on your strength, O Zion. The call to be awake was a call to vigilance and is closely related to these biblical themes of deliverance from injustice and oppression, as came to be expressed later in liberation theology, including Black liberation theology. In the present century, woke gained special prominence, particularly after the 2014 Ferguson protests following the police shooting of Michael Brown. It became synonymous with awareness of systemic racism and solidarity with movements like Black Lives Matter. And it also expanded to include broader social issues like gender equality, LGBTQ plus rights, and environmental justice. Platforms like Twitter, before it became Shitter, played a key role in popularising woke as part of online activism with hashtags like Stay Woke. The call was to wake up to hidden injustices and structural inequities. The concept entered pop culture in songs like Redbone by Childish Gambino. Naturally, the existing powers are not too thrilled with a movement that tries to make people aware of their state of oppression. It can't have people actually waking up. Education is often seen as a threat to existing authorities. In Latin American liberation theology, education became a tool for revolution. Paulo Freire, a Brazilian educator and philosopher, was central to shaping the pedagogical approach of liberation theology. His book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, published in 1970, introduced key concepts that theologians and activists adopted. He emphasized the importance of enabling individuals to critically examine their social, political, and economic conditions. Liberation theologians used this framework to help communities to interpret their lived realities in light of biblical teachings, particularly those about justice and liberation, such as found in the various prophets. Government and elites viewed the empowerment of the poor as a threat, leading to the persecution of clergy and educators involved in liberationist movements. Education was viewed as subversive activity. In our more enlightened society, the powers that be have adopted more subtle methods. Gradually, the term woke entered broader public discourse and was increasingly used by people outside its original cultural context. Corporations, politicians, and media often used woke to signal progressive values. But this has a tendency to dilute its original intention and purpose. This is called woke washing. When everyone's oppressed, no one's oppressed. It's the same kind of thing that's been attempted with Black Lives Matter, when this is countered with All Lives Matter. This woke washing shifts the focus away from genuine activism towards virtue signalling. Of course, the next step is to turn woke into a pejorative term. Critics of progressive movements began to use woke pejoratively to mock or dismiss social justice efforts. Also, woke is turned into an insult. The term became associated with a caricature of progressive politics, with the suggestion that woke people are hypersensitive, overly politically correct, or engaging in cancel culture. All of this is an attempt to dilute and debase the term, and of course obscure the real issues that gave rise to the concept in the first place. I'm still happy to describe myself as woke, but not in a way that obscures the real issues or tries to culturally co-opt the term. I won't use it to suggest that I'm oppressed, in the same way that I won't use the term all lives matter. In my case, it's not about being awake to my oppression, but to the very genuine oppression that other groups within our society most certainly do experience, and also to be awake to how I am privileged by this society, and how I am, intentionally or not, complicit in the oppression of others. The idea that being woke can be a bad thing is completely ridiculous to me. But I can also understand why people wouldn't want to be awake to the idea of their own privilege. I can understand why they would want to deny their own complicity in oppression. And I can also understand why those privileged elements of society wouldn't want those who are oppressed to become too aware of that fact and of the reasons for it. Viva la révolution!